Hey drummers, I'm Jim Linsner along with Danusha Beats, who likes to play the drums a whole lot more than she likes to edit video. Welcome to Linear Drumming Bootcamp Part 3. So by now we all know that linear grooves just sound killer, but they also sound very busy and you have to be careful how you use them in music. Sure, if you play in a jazz fusion band or a progressive rock band, they're going to fit with no problem. But if you played a linear groove in a classic rock tune or in a country tune or even a pop tune, it's going to sound pretty ridiculous. It's going to sound out of place. It's going to sound like you're playing a drum solo, okay? And, we're all part of a team, which is our band. And the goal is to cohesively create great music, And if classic rock is your bag, you don't want it to sound like a drum solo with a classic rock band. So you need to be careful. And I'm not saying that you can't ever use linear grooves unless you're playing jazz rock or fusion or progressive rock or something. But I am saying you need to learn subtle ways to incorporate your linear ideas into whatever music you play. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start with a linear groove, and we're going to draw all our ideas from that groove. Here it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that linear groove and we're going to convert it back into a regular rock groove. We're going to get rid of all the hi-hat notes that create the linear, and we're going to replace them with just eighth notes on the hi-hat. Here's what that sounds like. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take little chunks of linear and insert them into the rock groove, okay? For starters, we're going to take linear beat 2 and insert that in the rock groove. So if you remember the linear groove, beat 2, you're going snare, hat, kick, hat. So now let's put that into beat 2 of our rock groove. Check it out. Yes, I will play that slower. Now that we've got an idea, let's embellish it a little bit. Let's open the first linear hi-hat note on the hi-hat. Now let's take the linear notes and move them to the small tom or any tom on your kit. Now let's take linear beat 3 and put that into our rock groove on beat 3. And that's going to be hat, kick, kick, hat. Check it out. Okay, so now let's take this new linear right hand pattern and move it to the cowbell. Keep in mind, you could move it to any tom, the cymbal bell, or wherever on your drum kit. Now, let's replace beats 2 and 3. So we're going to take beats 2 and 3 linear, and we're going to put those into the rock groove on beats 2 and 3. Sounds like this. Now let's take the right hand and move it down the toms to create a really cool linear fill. Now let's replace beats 1 and 4. So we're going to linearize beats 1 and 4 in the rock groove. Sounds like this. Okay, let's embellish that a little bit. Let's open the hi-hat on the second note each time. Now we're going to embellish the hi-hat in a little bit different way. Instead of a hi-hat opening, we're going to just sneak a left-hand note in between each double right. Now let's take those 3-note flourishes and each time open the hi-hat on the end of that. And you know, it sounds really tricky, but remember that both feet are coming down at the same time. So you're opening the hat and then right away both feet come down, closing the hat. And finally, let's take those little 3-note flourishes and let's move them to the toms. You could move them in any order. You can split them up between the toms, but I chose floor tom and small tom. Okay, that's a wrap for Linear Drumming Bootcamp Part 3. I want to mention that all the examples we did were 1-measure phrases. This is just to speed up the learning process. In real life, you're only going to play these groove variations and fills once every 4 bars, once every 8 bars, once every 16 bars, okay? It's important to be tasteful. So practice these things with 3 bars of the rock groove and then 1 bar of the variation. And use them in your band in tasteful ways. I wanted to mention too that I got these new cymbals that I'm crazy about. The brand name is Kaja, and they're low volume cymbals, and they sound excellent, they look cool, and they're really reasonably priced. I bought them at Buffalo Drum Outlet. Check them out. Stay tuned for more issues of Linear Drumming Bootcamp, and thanks for watching.